The University of Oxford describes plagiarism as presenting work or ideas from another source as your own, with or without consent of the original author, by incorporating it into your work without full acknowledgement. All published and unpublished material, whether in manuscript, printed, or electronic form, is covered under this definition. And here's the definition from dictionary.com. An act or instance of using or closely imitating the language and thoughts of another author without authorization, and the representation of that author's work as one's own, as by not crediting the original author. According to copyright.gov, what is copyright? Copyright is a type of intellectual property that protects original works of authorship as soon as an author fixes the work in a tangible form of expression. In copyright law, there are a lot of different types of works, including paintings, photographs, illustrations, musical compositions, sound recordings, computer programs, books, poems, blog posts, movies. Who is a copyright owner? Everyone is a copyright owner. Once you create an original work and fix it, like taking a photograph, writing a poem or blog, or recording a new song, you're the author and the owner. So the pictures that are in my video here that I made myself has been copyrighted because I'm publishing it on YouTube. Ha! Beat that! Trademark law, on the other hand, protects words, names, symbols, or devices used in trade with goods or services to indicate the source of the goods and to distinguish them from the goods or service of others. Good evening, morning, afternoon, freaks and geeks. This is Reluge, and today we are going to be looking over the pals from Palworld. Usually I would just be critiquing the particular monsters, but Palworld is going through a couple controversies. And as a artist, I would like to go through these controversies and not necessarily debunk, but do a more in-depth look at it. So the first controversy I want to cover is the AI art. Because as far as I know, they can make the artwork in AI, but they still have to render it like as a model and animate it and have it do its attacks and whatnot. So it still requires people to make the game. However, one of the suggestions is that the AI art is the reason why some of them are so close to Pokemon. So I want to run through a few things by you real quick. I'm using Dream by Wombo. It's at dream.ai. I've been using this one lately. As you can see, I don't have premium, but they'll like have 4 different things and then unlock some more styles. Kitten. Oh, my kitten! That one's Shaggy, by the way.
Why is Dan getting on the jacket?
Because I have to go get something.
So, different styles will determine the different ways they'll come out. I have been doing a monster. I'm going to load up a picture that I've drawn a long time ago. I drew this in, like, with a colored pencil years ago. It's a part of my game that I'm working on that I've already mentioned. As you can tell, there's issues. I'm not going to point them out, But there's this one that looks really funky. So I'm gonna see what AI will do to it. For the prompts, reptile, fire, lizard, fat. Alright, now let's see what it creates. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting. I can Photoshop the tail to make it bigger. But I like that. I like that a lot. And it even did the foot bending. It still looks a little awkward, but it works.
Billy, he's up here. Billy.
But you see, it's like I drew the basic shape. The program knew what I was going for. And it gave me something close.
Okay, time for you to go back, babies. Come.
Now, this one is its evolution. The idea is that it gets bigger, it gets meaner, it gets claws, and it has like fiery spokes going down its back. So, let's see, with pretty much the same prompts, except I removed fat and put on fire. I think that's the term. Frills. Alright, let's see what happens. Ooh. I really like this. It's got little horns. It's got like little fiery thing coming out of its head. It's got the frills. It has an extra tail in the back that I can just edit out. Make that a little bit bigger. Make that look like its foot. Like it's lifting its foot up in the back. But yeah, I'd say this one's pretty solid. I like this. As you can see, I really like how it enhances the art I've already done. Because one of my problems is, especially with humans, I have a rough time like putting on those extra details, like the ripples in the skin, like proportions, like in the face, is also one of my major downfalls. So it's like I can put my art through these programs. Earlier, I mentioned that I'm making my own game. And the images I show here, including like the fire lizards that I did earlier, these are my own work. And I can just come to this video to show, hey, I made this at this time. In fact, I even got the timestamps on the files. So anyway, this is one of my monsters. The idea is like he's supposed to look almost human, but one of his arms is insanely huge, and he uses that to attack with. So this is the drawing I did. very long time ago. As you can tell, I did it on lined paper because that's all I had at the time. And I like the idea, but like I said, I can't draw people. So through multiple attempts through AI, I've grabbed several different limbs and like pieces of the body, and it came up with this, which I think is freaking amazing. It's pretty much what I wanted. It's like a human, but not exactly a human. And it's got a massive arm. I don't know why it has the paints on him like that, but hey, I think that added character to him. And I freaking love it. Now, why would I be showing off my own artwork? Well, my game, it evolved from being a fan game of Pokemon. And when I decided to make my own game, I decided, you know what? Let's just remove Pokemon completely out of it and have my own. So it's like I did draw some like new evolutions, like this one here. This was supposed to be a 4 tier for Roselia, mainly because I counted the baby forms to not be a base form. So my idea was to change uh, Roserade into like a fencer. His hair, like the top part, which I translate into hair, would have grown over into like the face mask. His roses would become the fencing swords, and I really love this idea. However, it still looks really close to Roserade. So I've tweaked it, threw it into the AI, and came out with this. Now it looks like its own creation. Looks like it has a jacket and pants made out of grass. It has a cape, and it still has its rose rapiers. And I've had a couple monsters that were supposed to be like resembling a Pokemon. So I put in some simple words, and I'm gonna see what kind of monster it produces.
What? No.
That's interesting how it splits into two, and none of the bits of the snake matches up to anything. But there's no bone in there. So let's see what horror does.
You can use my Shinobu too.
That's interesting. But then that would be more of like for an image instead of like creating a creature.
No, fine, I got one. The body's in the no. I really like that ivy plant.
It sounded like it came from upstairs.
I hope it's not Dylan jacking off.
Yeah, because that'd be pretty hard. Um, Again, it splits into two.
This one's done.
That has random snake at the bottom.
Where is it? Up,
All right.
up, up, up.
Let's see what happens when I throw it through the figure.
Up, 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 up.
Whoa,
Off. This one needs charge.
that's actually kind of interesting. I could see where it's trying to put in bones.
Put this one where the one I just took from. Over there. One,
That's kind of cool.
two. Wait, this is
So, let's throw it back on monster.
one's here charging.
Now, I'm going to see what I can type in to make it look like a Pokemon.
Because this here's all Diana's IEP stuff. They usually don't have big pages. If I was forever in heaven, must be. That's a big kind of big. Just to kill of a cat by her. Ha! She should know.
Hey, copyright strike. Come on, girls.
You can't copyright strike my singing, motherfucker.
Okay, so I typed in Pokemon-like, animal, cartoon, horse, lightning storm, made out of clouds galloping through the sky. Now let's see if this makes it look like... It's not what I wanted. Now, let's see if this makes it look like something that would look vaguely like a Pokemon.
Pony does, but clouds instead of flames.
Whoa! That's actually kind of badass.
Okay, you're getting too excited.
I'm sorry.
Hi, Spaz. I love you. Yes, I love you. Hi, Spaz.
Okay, let's throw it into anime version 3. See what we get. What?
Do you know why Daniel's just sitting in his bed tapping on his crossword puzzle book instead of going to bed?
Just go. This more looks like the stallion from Monster High than anything. But that is interesting. Ah. Now this is more like what I was looking for. This kind of looks Pokemon-ish. The, like the wings and the, mane bears a like striking resemblance to like Zebstrika, I suppose. I love how lightning's coming out of its hooves. But this right here is what I was looking for. Actually, I kind of want to keep that. Now, Monster 3. Straight up Pikachu. My cat's worried about me now. That is great. Fucking rock metal Pikachu. I love it. So, I want to show the details that I'm going through, the process to try to not have the player instantly think, oh, Pokemon, when they look at my characters. So, all the images here are from the Palworld Pocket Pair. I get them all from screenshots in-game. Except for this. This is a cover I found on IMDb. So I am very, very glad that Lambo is the first one. Because this is the perfect example of one of the things I'm going to be pointing out. Because Lambo looks a lot like Wooloo. And here's the side-by-side comparison. Now, yes, they both are sheep Pokemon. That's a bull. But that's like pretty much where the similarities end. Moving on, we got Catava here, which is just like a red cat. I like how in the game he's acting all tough, and then you come up and then he just runs. And we got Chickapee. It's a chicken. It gives you eggs. Not much left to say. Though with these three, it's the way they started the game with your person laying there and like the three looking over you reminded me so much of Pokemon Arceus, which is why I thought like these three were the starters. But that's the thing. It's like the game made me think, hey, Pokemon, which is hard to not do when you're playing a game. And by the way, I'm going to be bringing up Monster Sanctuary a lot because that was a really good game, and they avoided me thinking about Pokemon the whole time. But that's because they started it off completely differently. Also, they don't have a round device that you throw at them to capture them. Though, now that I'm on that real quick, though, I do like how they did the capturing devices in this game. It's not... I don't think it's even close to copywriting Pokemon, because Draconia's Go did that as well. but it's like the capsule was designed completely different. Same thing with this one. It splits in half. You see the light going in, and it closes, and like it does do the whole like 3 shaking bit, but so does Draconius Go. But I like how they have it different from being the 3 tiers, and you have to craft them or find them. I really like that twist. But again, it's like I wish they had a different beginning. Now, Life Monk. Oh, and also, there's no evolutions in the game. I am actually okay with that. One of my problems though is like, as I figured this game's gonna have tiers. Like I'm going to skip over Life Monk for like because there's not much to say about it. It's a little chipmunk squirrel thing with a diamond in its forehead. Looks nothing like any Pokemon I know. But with Fox Parks, you could hold them and use them like a flamethrower. And that is awesome. I love doing that. But at like mid game, you already want to replace him with someone that's stronger. Unless you just want to just use him as a flamethrower. But it's a little disappointing. But I love the fact that the pals can do different things when they're on your team. Really makes you think of your team design. Flack is a little weird. People's compared him to Psyduck. But he's nowhere even close to Psyduck. It's just, he's a duck. Psyduck's a duck. That's the only similarities. Now, Sparket being close to Pikachu, I can see. Thankfully, he doesn't have the little red cheeks. For me, they could just change the tail. Because I know it's supposed to be like a lightning bolt, and Pikachu's tail is a lightning bolt. But the fact that it's a yellow, small, rodent-type creature with black lines does kind of make you think of Pikachu. So it's just like changing the tail a bit, and then it would be the only similarities is the coloring. Ruby is kind of interesting. I wish they had it on like a different island. Ruby looks a lot like a little fawn with a fire hair coming up from its forehead. Now, for me, Fox Parks and Ruby is very similar. They're both fire. They're both low tier. The only difference is one of them. Oh, and they both just have kindling as their thing, as their chore. But Fox Parks you can use as a flamethrower. Pen Gullet and Pen King. They're the ones that made me think that the pals were going to evolve. Because Pen King really does look like an evolution of Pen Gullet. It's like the similar designs are there. The color scheme, the shapes of the coloring, the fact that there's like a little crystal on the Pen Gullet, and then 3 on Pen King. even like the little hair on Pengull, it looks like it could change into the hat on Penking. And I mean, I don't mind if only a few of the pals evolve, because that would have been cool. But it's whatever, and it works. So, however, with Joltog, I actually kind of like the different elemental variations. Because it's like, with Jolthog, his little pins look like lightning, but on the ice form, it looks like ice. And I kind of like that. I also like how they add the word Christ at the end of it. I've also noticed I've only come across one grass variation. And no dragons. That's just weird. Anyway, Gumos is a puddle of slime. He does look like Ditto, but only because it's slime. I really don't think it's supposed to be like Ditto or anything. Moving on to Vixie, which is a thing that almost looks like Eevee. If you just remove the head and put an Eevee head on it, it's Eevee. However, I think it's because they're using the same type of like fox as like the inspiration. And that would be why it looks similar. Personally, I don't think it's close enough. And on Hootcrates, I know a lot of people have been comparing him to Murkrow. But it's only because of the hat. They're both wearing witch hats. So, and I think that's more of like a pilgrim hat than a witch hat. But I mean, come on, the name Hootcrates. Who can tease that? T-Finch is a little elephant that's a teacup, or tea kettle. What can I say about it? It's freaking amazing. But what's even more amazing is the fact that they have a pal named Depresso. I know it shouldn't be funny, but I find that to be hilarious. And Cremies, very similar to Vixie. It's like two pals that are very, very close to each other. Now, freaking Daydream looking like Mischievous, I can see that. Well, let's do it side by side. Pretty much similarities aren't really there. It's just you see Daydream and then you think, hey, that reminds me a lot of Mischievous, but I don't think it's close enough. By the way, no, they did not misspell Daydream. That's Day, D-A-E, as in the original spelling for demon, which people keep pronouncing it Damon because of how it looks. It only looks like that because it was a mistranslation. Rushore is also very interesting. I like how they charge at you in battle. I love how that's an actual move they do. Really isn't a Pokemon that's close to that at all. Nor to Nox. I mean, yeah, it almost looks like an evolution. But that's only because of the tail. And the ears, I guess? Yeah, it's kind of close to an evolution. That's what the ghost evolution should look like. Feather's kind of cool. Of course, being compared to Drillbur, but it's only because they're like, oh, hey, that's a mole. It's supposed to be Drillbur. And then we have Killamari. That's supposed to be Drifloon. But it's not really. They're just saying that because of the little arms dripping through, like, drooping next to it. Looks nothing like Drifloon. I like Mao. It's kind of like an Egyptian cat that drops money. And if you say it's Meowth, you're wrong. Learn your Cats of Legend. Because this is based on an Egyptian cat. Meowth is based on that lucky cat thing. And then Mouseist. It's an ice form of it. And you can just say all you want. Celeray is just like Manatee, but it isn't. However, this next guy, this is the one that could be like under fire. Because Direwolf does look a lot like a Lycanroc. Looks a lot like it. In fact, I'm going to see if I can find the video of a person showing that it's almost exactly like just a repaint. And if that's the case, that is straight up plagiarism. That is theft of the highest degree. It's like, oh, I'm just going to take this and just repaint it. No, now it's a Chinese knockoff. And Toko is very close to Xatu. But I think it's because they both are based on the same legend, myth. Though I couldn't find anything to support that theory. They're so freaking interesting, and they charge at you and explode. And Floppy, gosh, I've seen a lot of people like comparing this one to a lot of the mythicals. I think the main one was Jirachi. But it's only because it's a cute thing with big hair, and it's kind of floating. I don't see a similarity. This one, though, if you say it's Miltank, you need to get your glasses checked. And you'd be wrong, like Corn said. But it's a cow. It's a big, fat cow with a sleepy face. It's not standing up. I mean, look at Miltank here. This is Mazzarina. This is not Miltank. That's Miltank. This is not Miltank. This is Miltank. We don't ask about that. Now, Bristla reminds me a lot of Blossom. And that new one, Glossary? The one that was in Sword and Shield that was... It kind of evolved into like this old dandelion looking thing, and it was kind of dumb. But again, it's close. They might have a case for that, but I doubt it. I really love the frick out of this gobfin. It's like a shark turned into a goblin. I love the crap out of this. And then they made it better by giving it a fire type. These things are so cool. But the description of it makes it sound like they're thinking of Magikarp. Because they mentioned that in the sea it used to be like a strong, ferocious fighter. But then when it came out onto land and like grew the arms and legs, it became weaker. That's a very similar like Dex entry to Magikarp, talking about how Magikarp used to be a really powerful Pokemon back in the ancient times, but now it's just the weakling that flops around. And there's another thing that really hits strong. That's like they're thinking this is a Magikarp that'll come up a little later. Just remember about the Pen King conversation I had a little bit ago. Hangyu is freaking amazing. You can freaking use him as a glider. So you can use Calamari and a couple other ones as well. But this one is cool because it like hangs on to you and you fly through with it. I was surprised when they had the ice version of it, but it's whatever. Currently at the 0.5, I already submitted a ticket for it. But the Hangyu Crest doesn't load up in the actual like compendium for some reason. I had to take a screenshot of it flying in the game. So Masanda is a very strange pal. He like shakes his face when he sees you or when he attacks, and he's very floaty. I don't know if that they meant for him to be floaty like that, but it was weird fighting him. And if that was a glitch or a bug or whatever, don't fix it. It's kind of cool. It doesn't break it at all. It's just it makes the battle interesting. But the way it shakes its face more reminds me of the Skull Kid from Majora's Mask. And the lightning form has a lightning mohawk and looks meaner. Not silly when it shakes its face at you. Woolly Pop. It's a sheep made out of cotton candy. Cotton candy. Capriti has been compared to Bulbasaur, but it's because it has a berry bush on its back. It's more of a goat than a dinosaur. But it's like if Pokemon really wants to copyright some like grass growing out of the back of a creature, then so be it. Melpaka is a llama. Yeah, this is a very, like, boring PAL in my opinion. But then again, I'm pretty sure people out there loves the Malpaca. Wait, I think it double jumps when you ride it. I think that's what the saddle said. But then you got Eikthyr deer, and its horns look a lot like Xenius's. Which could be an issue, but other than that, I don't really see there being an issue with it. And of course, Nightwing. It's a bird. It's an eagle creature. Of course, it's going to look like the basic bird creatures in Pokemon. And I'm not even going to do a side by side for this one because it's like, what do you think he looks like? I bet you all of you are going to have a different answer. All 5 of you. And Red Bunny, I can't remember what people said. Oh, Lopunny. And it just isn't. It's never close. You can more say that Sylveon is closer to Red Bunny. That's because the little ribbons in its at the back of it. Now, Incineram is an issue, though. Because from the front, he just looks like a bipedal ram that has like a little rib cage thing going on. But if you look at his hair in the back, that is Zoroark's hair. Like, pretty much to the T. I look at that and I think, hey, that's Zoroark's hair. That is an issue. My suggestion is to just get rid of it. He would look badass without it. I mean, in my opinion, he looks more badass from the front. Or you could even pull it down, make it his tail, get rid of the little spikes on it, and change the design, like the color design, and it won't be Zoroark anymore. But yeah, this is going to be a very simple fix. Cinnamoth, of course, Butterfree. But it really isn't. It's a moth. Butterfree's a butterfly. They look nothing alike. You're going to call every single moth in every single video game Butterfree? Because that's what's going on. I fell in love with Arsox the first time I saw it. It's like a big ram its body is made out of fire, and you could ride it, and it was amazing. Until I found the Blaze Howl. Then I just gave this up for the better model. Oh, and I've seen people comparing Dumont to a lot of stuff. It's just a land shark. It has no... I can't even think of anything that I've read that I can't remember. He more reminds me of Terrafin from Skylanders. And Cognito, again, people compared him to freaking Murkrow again. But it's because of the hat. The hat is very similar. That's it. He has a plague doctor's mask, for crying out loud, and a cape. And it's freaking awesome. I love Cognito. Love how he like stiffly walks and teleports to you and pecks your eye out. Les Punk though, he does remind me of Scraftree, or not Scraftree. Scraggy. Les Punk though, he does remind me of Scraggy, but it is because of the hood and the fact that he kind of looks like a punk, not like punk style, but like you're walking down the street, you see someone with a hood, and he's walking along, he's all like. It's the kind that makes you think, he's like, does he have a knife under that hood? Does he have a gun hidden somewhere? He looks a little shady. But then again, he probably just wants to keep to himself, so either way, just stay clear of him. You both get a benefit. He gets left alone, you get to not be stabbed. Loop Moon is another one that was very, very close to, I think, Zoroark. But not really. It's like, it's one of those ones that's like, ooh, he looks like a Pokemon, but I can't think of which one. But I just love how his horns are crescent moons. And yes, that little line there is one of the crescent moons. I just had them angled slightly. And they're very cool. Galclaw is an American eagle. So is Braviary. They look nothing alike. Moving on. Oh, Robinquill. Robinquill. What can I say about this one? He looks like a fusion between the Decidueye and the second one is kind of escaping me. What am I thinking of? It's the way he moves. But yeah, it's very close, but only by vague reference. It's like, it's an archer, it's grass. Oh, it's the Decidueye. But he is really, really close to it. Oh, Tyrogue. That's what I'm thinking of. I bet you forgot that one existed, huh? Haven't seen that guy in a while. And then Gorarat. It's like kind of a mixture of a gorilla and a rat, but not exactly. But it's still freaking cool. I really like this thing. And then here's another grouping that makes me think it could evolve. Beegard and Elizabeth. Now, this is one of the ones where it's like, you could come across 2 to 3 Beegards, and then there's a chance that Elizabeth is in it. They're very similar, except for Elizabeth has like a little bit more level to like her chores that she can do, but Beegard has a couple more that it can do, which is producing honey and producing medicine. But that's one thing I was thinking. I've noticed throughout the game. It's like the lower levels, tend to have more things they can do. But as you get to like the higher tier pals, they only can do like 1 or 2, maybe 3. But it's like they go up to anywhere like level 4 of it. And that's kind of like a good trade-off in my opinion. You can have it be the master of one subject, or you can have a apprentice of many. And also, it's like, if you have the one doing many chores, it would be running around trying to do multiple things. If you have one that focuses on one thing, it'll just do that one thing. But anyway, moving on, Grintail is the Cheshire Cat. I haven't seen anybody mention that. I'm pretty sure they have. I'm pretty sure they're like, the entire world has mentioned it, but I just have not seen it. But yeah, that's the Cheshire Cat. You need to like the glowing eyes, which is just awesome and amazing, and I love it. And Sweet and Sweepa are also ones that made me think early on that they can evolve. And then we have Chillet, which is an ice ferret. And it's freaking cool.
Shadow, there's still more. She ran away because I sniffled.
Oh. And we got Univolt. I debated if I wanted to show it from the side or if I wanted to show it from the front. I wish I could have it from the side and have it looking at me, but this is the best I could do for now. In fact, Univolt and Pyron are almost the same. They almost look like they're like a pairing. You know, like how in Pokemon you got Zangoose and Seviper. Because it's like Univolt's electric. He's like a unicorn. You can ride him. He has 2 charging and 1 logging. And then Pyron, he's like a fiery nightmare type of horse. He's fire, you can ride him. He has 2 kindling and 1 logging. And then you got the dark form of it. I wonder if they have a dark form of the Univolt and I just don't know it. But yeah, it seems like those were supposed to be similar. And then Raindrix. This is a very interesting pal. I'm almost wanting to use it. If I had like a 6th slot, I would use it by endgame. Because it just looks so amazing, especially with those antlers. And Rayhound's pretty cool. It's nothing like Bolttown at all. Or Electrike. It's just a dog with lightning. Oh, and I just realized I haven't mentioned that I haven't numbered these guys, like gave them their compendium numbers, because for one, I don't know if they're going to change. I'd imagine that like if they create some new pals, they'll put it at the end. But they might be the kind that would like, say they introduce a new low tier pal, they would put it, I don't know if they're going to put it like at the beginning of the compendium, especially since the game is still in early access. So things will probably change. So anyway, Kitsune is also awesome. It's like a kitsune, but with a fiery blue fiery mane, and its saddle, when you ride it, it negates both heat and cold temperatures, which is really interesting. Dazzy is a storm cloud. I know a lot of people compare her to the Storm Trio, but I think she looks more like Lightning Bolt from Skylanders. And if you want to call Lunaris a Mew clone, I think that's fair. Because it looks like the step between Mew and Mewtwo. Or like a feminine Mewtwo. But I personally don't think it's close enough to be triggered by copyright. Dynasum, however, almost looks like Sliggoo. Almost. But also does the other dinosaur thing that's coming up. I just realized this one looks just like the other one, but with a grass hat on its head. And then you got an electric one with a grass hat on its head. Why didn't the grass hat change much? Serpent. It's like a little serpent. I don't see a likeness to any Pokemon. But I do like how the Serpentera has like the stones coming out of it. Like its design is almost completely changed, and it swims in sand, and I like it. Marieth almost looks like it could come out of Harry Potter or Dungeons and Dragons. Or Naruto for some reason. Why am I thinking Naruto all of a sudden? Digtoise is one of my favorites. Just because of the sheer absurdity of its shell with the drills coming out of it. And then it's got like a little helmet. I love it. It is great. I would use it on my team, but I don't. He's more of a utility pal. Like, I primarily use him to throw him at rocks to have him dig it. Tombat. I saw one thing that was talking about what Tombat looked like a long time, like when the game first came out, but I can't remember. It looks nothing like that. So anyway, Tombat looks really close to Husker from Hell of a Boss. It's there. It is very there. Lavander does look like the salamander from Pokemon, but that's not my issue with this one. Can you see it? Here, let me zoom in a little bit more. Do you see it yet? Do you? That looks like pelvic hair. Yeah, I really don't know why they made this design like this, and it runs all very feminine, like. I hate it. I hate this thing with a passion. In fact, I saw a forum talking about removing it. Let me look that up. I was so I didn't find the exact feed, but Sagrath on the community page for Palworld on Steam says Lavander is a thirst trap and needs to be removed. I don't know whose sick idea it was to make a creature like this, but it's wildly inappropriate. And you can keep your Steam points, they are useless. But if you're short on cash and need some, talk about a trap. Portal Shifter had replied saying, Lavander has an OnlyFans page, $5 a month. Oh! Mayhera Project actually makes a good point. Fun fact. Palworld is not and never was intended for children. If you're not a fan of the Japanese art of parody and shart posting with entertainment media, maybe move on. He is correct. So, with that being said, I still don't really like Lavander. It's still too close to Salazzle, but they can do the parody defense on that. Because it is... He is right. It is mocking this heavily sexual characters in children's video games. So I'm still just bothered by the pubic hair. Flambell is a freaking awesome pal. It's a living candlestick. Nothing like a ghost candlestick. It's a living candlestick. And again, it's lore. Look it up. Hell, this movie, Loon, has a candle character. Vanworm is a very interesting flying mount. It was really cool, and I liked them. And I noticed that by the time I noticed that they didn't really have an ice or a water flyer, I found Vanworm Christ and the Suzaku water or aqua. It was weird. So Bushi. Let's talk about copyright real quick. According to Wikipedia, yes, I'm quoting Wikipedia, in Japanese, historical warriors are usually referred to as Bushi, meaning warrior, or Buke, as in meaning military family. So, the reason why I bring this up is because I have a character in my game that I called Bushi, and it's a samurai. It doesn't look like him, though. Thankfully, it looks nothing like him. So, you can't sue me for using that word. So anyway, I really like Bushi's design. When I fought him as, like, the boss, oh my god, that was cool. But, Beacon, on the other hand, he looks very close to Zapdos. Like, the only reason why I say that is because of his face. His face almost looks like Zapdos' face. And then Ragnarok is the Galarian form of Zapdos. And we have Catrice that's also using the Honchcrow hat. However, actually, I think it's more of Miss Magus' hat. However, Catrice is almost close to. Actually, I think it's Kitsune in Monster Sanctuary. But what I really, really like is that it has another fire form called Wixen. And it's almost like an actual like fire form. Like the fire variant. But it's a different pal. It's a different creature. And that's why I think the variants are cool. Because it's like, it's almost the same thing, but it's a different type. You know? Verdash, oh my god. Oh, when I saw it, I was like, wait, is this the grass version of Cinderace? But it's more made to look like a track star than a soccer player. I do like it though. It just really looks like Cinderace. Valet is an interesting flower insect butterfly thing. Not much more I can say about it. Alright, so Siblex. It looks a lot like Frostmate, or Frostlass.
You've got mail.
It almost looks like Frostlass. But I think that's because it's based on the same mythology. Alphadran is almost a fairy form of Dragonite. And I'm something else, but I can't think of that. And why do people do like the goofy look for dragons? It's anyway. Kelpsy does look like a baby form of Lapras. I'm not gonna lie on that one. Azarobi looks very close to like a mix of Crystalla and Melodic. I know I got that name wrong. But it is way too close to Melodic. And I don't think there's much to be changed of it other than giving a complete different redo. Cryolinx is another interesting monster. I just love how they did its arms. It almost reminds me of a Spore creation. In fact, I think I can make this in Spore. Blaze Howl, like I mentioned, is now my new favorite. Well, not my ultimate favorite, but my favorite mount. It's like I got him and I was building up the one on my team, and then I came across Blaze Howl Noct. I was like, are you serious? That looks so much cooler. Plaxurus. It's a dinosaur, but I really hate the goofy looking look. I'd rather have like the mean like it'll rip your throat out type of dinosaur, or an Ankylosaurus. That'll work too. But again, they gave him a lightning mohawk, and I find that to be funny. Bronze is very close to what a dancer should be, and very close to Meganium. Just putting that out there. And yes, Petulia does look a lot like a lot of the grass types, especially damn it, I can't think of names. But yeah, it really looks like a lot of the grass types. This is the first game that had a bunch of fire types that I actually really like. Repturo is another good one. Okay. So yeah, King Paka was interesting, but it's like another thing that could be an evolution, except he has an ice form, which the Malpaka might have an ice form as well. But Mamarist has an ice form, but I find that to be interesting, because the normal Mamarist has the stones, spikes coming out, his tusks are stone, but then everything that's like stone on the Mamarist turns to ice on the Mamarist crest. Which, like I said, I find this to be interesting. I just hope it does not become the norm. Like, next update, it's like, oh, 10 new pals. They're just 10 new variants. The Woomball is the first one that I found the variant before the normal. And the variant looks normal. Which is why I thought it was like Wumpo Botan was like its name. I didn't realize that the Botan was the suffix because they didn't have a Botan variant before this. And I was also expecting the ice one to have something else in his mouth, but no, it's still a leaf. So that's weird. Roar, yum 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 yum. War sect is an interesting monster. People are comparing it to Pinsir. It's not Pinsir. It's nowhere near Pinsir. It's closer to Hercules Kabuterimon, but not Pinsir. Fangaloop I find is weird that's all the way in the back here, because you can find it pretty early on, and it kind of has early on stats. And Felbat can only be found in that one cave. There's another one people keep saying that's a different Pokemon, but I cannot remember what it is. But that's the thing, it's like, I don't see any Pokemon looking at this thing. Nah, same can't be said for the next one, though. Next one is Reshiram. I mean, Quivern. And it looks a lot like Reshiram. I get that it's supposed to be like a white dragon, but it screams Reshiram. Blazimutt has to be my favorite one so far. He is pretty freaking cool, and he's got like the little rock gloves. Oh, he is just so awesome. And I found out that you can actually ride him, and I can't wait to do that. Hell Zephyr. How much I could say about him? He more looks like he could have been lightning, but it's whatever. He is pretty cool. Estegon is just like Zekrom. It's like Reshiram Zekrom. They're too close to it. And especially when you have both of them, that just again, it makes me think Pokemon when I see it. And that's not good for having a monster taming game. Menacing is another really great one. It's pretty much the same at the same like hype as Blazamut, because it's a scorpion. Blazamut's also freaking awesome. I I really cannot decide. Anubis is another one of those ones where everybody's like, "Eh, that's a Pokemon." I don't think it looks like Lucario at all. I look at it and it screams Anubis to me. When I saw it in like the little preview, I was like, "Oh, hey, that's Anubis," and it is. However, Dormantide, that is way too close to Gyarados. I know Gyarados doesn't have like the fins at the side there, which in my opinion does take it away from being Gyarados. I think they're based on the same like type of dragon, like that Chinese dragon thing. And there was a lore where if like a cart would be able to like swim all the way up, it's not just a waterfall, it's a certain waterfall. I think it's like the tallest waterfall in either China or Japan, I can't remember. But if they're able to go swim up like there, they become a dragon. Which is why Magikarp evolves into Gyarados, which is why Gyarados is water flying. But this guy has a fire form. If you remember earlier, I was talking about Gobfin, how its dex data is very similar to Magikarp's dex data. And these guys' color scheme are pretty much the same. I think that they were supposed to evolve into these. But then that would become really close to Magikarp and Gyarados if they did that. So the next one is Suzaku. This is my favorite flyer. His wings look like hands. And then I was surprised when I got the Aqua version of him. Now, Grisbolt is best described as a menacing Pikachu. But he would be more closer to Zangoose than Pikachu. It was like if Pikachu and Zangoose had a DNA fused. Eileen is also quite like a lot of the grass type Pokemon, but only because of the dress. And she strangely has a dark form, which I find to be interesting. It's like, I love it when people give like the galaxy color to certain pieces. Then we have Phalaris, which when I fought him in the boss battle, I thought it was just normal, one of the normal birds. But no, they have another flying fire type. That is just weird. Why do they make a lot of the flying mounts fire? Orzhov looks like a mixture of Garchomp and the new electric guitar, Toxicity, which I find to be awesome, just straight up. However, with Shadowbeak, it's almost Sylveon and Arceus. Because I only see Sylveon in the beak part, especially the little bit on his head. And then he's got Arceus's ring for some reason. It's like remove the bit on the head and remove the ring, and you've got a griffin. Palladius and Necromus. These guys are awesome. And you fight them both at the same time, which I think is crazy. I haven't been able to fight them yet, but damn, I'm looking forward to that battle. Frostallion is a frozen Pegasus. What else can I say about this? It more reminds me of My Little Pony than Pokemon, to be honest. But Jet Dragon. Yeah, that's the paradox form of what was it? Flygon. Okay. But no, there's another. He's screaming another Pokemon to me. I just can't think of it right now. But that is really close. Like, insanely close. So that's all the pals, and that is my thought process in regards of the plagiarism. What I think, my personal opinion on this whole thing, is that they should listen to the fans. Look up all the memes and see which of their pals are being compared to Pokemon. And change them. Like, in my opinion, the ones that are very, very close should just get complete redesign. Like Dire Howl. The ones that are vaguely similar, change it so that, in a way that it's wouldn't be like, hey, it's this. But then again, like that one guy had pointed out, there's satire culture. If in fact they are making fun of Pokemon and using some of the characters as a reference, then I think Pokemon does not have a case against them. Especially if Gobfin was making fun of Magikarp and Jarntide is making fun of Gyarados. Well, personally, I would love to see the Igneous versions being in the lake because of the red Gyarados. Anyway, also, once you think about it, if Anubis is supposed to be Lucario, then the fact that he's like being worshipped as a god pretty much is poking fun at like all the fanboys of Lucario. That's my thought process on this whole thing. Go ahead, tell me your thoughts.
You've got mail.
In the comment section down below. Be kind to each other in the comment section. Click on whichever like you think is appropriate for this video. Subscribe to see some other reviews. I've got 2 updates coming up. And until next time, stay white and nerdy.